It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back after that rousing performance by 4 a.m. Hopefully that's got you enthused. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to have some of my most burning questions when it comes to my little doggos answered. We're going to continue the doggo conversation this morning. This time we are talking about the reasons for some of our dogs' strangest behavior. I guarantee you there's going to be a few light bulb moments for you. And we're going to be chatting to dog behavioral expert Lucy. Good morning, Lucy. I hope you're doing really well and you're ready to answer my questions, because I've got many. I've got many questions. Okay.
Good morning. Having me.
So good to be connecting with you. And I would imagine that just about every person who's ever owned a dog is going to be echoing these questions. So my first question is this. Why do dogs start kicking their legs like it's a reflex action when you scratch their belly in that spot? You know, when you find that spot. Why do they kick their legs like that?
So that actually is indeed a reflex. It's called a scratch reflex. So it's responsible for if there's a bug or something irritating them under their skin, their legs will naturally kick at it to get it away. However, when we do it with our pets, we tend to also laugh and giggle and smile because it's so cute. So then we actually reinforce that behavior even further.
And I'm not going to stop doing it because it's very cute and lovable, and I love the look that he gets on his little face. Okay, here's one, and this is maybe more about the dog's kind of social behavior. Why do dogs sniff each other's butts? Why do they always go straight to the behind to have a little sniff the first time they connect and meet each other?
Well, it's actually much more polite than greeting face to face, and it also gives other dogs information about themselves. So a dog will have glands either side of their bum, and those glands carry hormones and pheromones specifically that give other dogs information about them, such as their sex, so whether they're male or female, their sexual status, whether they're ready to breed or not ready to breed, being castrated or not, or sterilized. It also tells them about their feelings at that time. So if they're specifically stressed, if they're feeling anxious, if they're overconfident. So in some regard, it actually tells other dogs a bit about their hierarchy status as well, whether they're a high-ranking dog or a lower-ranking dog.
Because the butt never lies. The butt never lies. I love that. So here's another one relating to the butt in a way. Why do dogs kick their feet in that hilarious way, like kind of kick the grass after they've relieved themselves?
So that's actually a form of marking. They have scent glands between their pads as well. They carry a lot of smell there, of their own smell. So after they've marked or peed somewhere, they will create further scent around that area to say that that area is theirs. You find mostly confident dogs will do it, or extremely insecure dogs will do it.
I'm trying to think where my little miniature Dachshunds kind of fit on that spectrum. So one last question for this part of our discussion, and this is one of great humorous value to most of us who own dogs. Why do dogs drag their butts on the floor? Is it because they're itchy? Why do they do it?
It's the most embarrassing behaviour that happens when you have visitors over. But unfortunately, it's a sign of discomfort. It usually means that there's some kind of either a parasite, like worms, that they're trying to, or that they have issues with those scent glands, those anal glands either side of their bottom. They could be impacted or even have an infection there. It's just a sign of discomfort, and they're actually scratching their bum.
Well, I mean, how else are they going to do it? They don't have hands to reach back and scratch their bum, so they've got to use your carpet. Absolutely insightful. I've learned a huge amount. I want you to stick around. We're going to continue our discussion in just a moment, really getting to know our four-legged friends in a completely different light.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. A little bit earlier, we spoke to dog behavioral expert Lucy about the reasons behind some of the strangest things our dogs do. They've been demystified. Thank you so much. We're going to continue that conversation now with a few embarrassing moments, yes. But I've got to ask this question first. Lucy, we play a little game here called Would You Rather on the show, which poses some interesting conundrums. And I figure you are like the best person to ask this because you kind of play in this space. So I need you to answer very truthfully now what your choice would be out of these two options. So the first is option A, be able to speak to animals, but only know one language. And option B, master 5 languages, but people can hear your thoughts. Which would you choose?
Oh, I would definitely choose A. Definitely. I'm ashamed to say that I can only speak one language anyway. So being from the UK. So although I would love to speak other languages, speaking to animals definitely trumps it. And I definitely wouldn't want people to hear my thoughts.
Oh, no, for sure. I'm with you completely with that. I'd love to be able to. And I suppose what you do, you come as close as any one person can to being able to communicate with animals, which is why we're obviously leaning on you this morning to demystify some rather strange behavior. And this next one is going to be a bit embarrassing, but it's something, it's the elephant in the room. Why do dogs randomly start humping objects or your leg? Is it always a sexual thing? Because it also sometimes seems like just a complete compulsion. Are they doing it to dominate you? What is going on in their little brains?
Okay, well, it's nearly never sexual.
Really?
Especially these days with most dogs being sterilised. It's not a sexual thing. Hardly ever sexual thing. Normally, it is caused by wanting to control or own that object or person. So yes, to dominate, for lack of a better word, to control. However, when they get overexcited or even anxious, they do all kinds of crazy things, and humping and mounting seems to be one of the most common things that they will do when overexcited. So yes, it's a bit of both, but if they're overexcited, they might well go to that behaviour if they enjoy doing it. They also, again, we think it's funny or embarrassing, but funny, so it's reinforced by us quite a lot of the time. Yeah, but generally it's to achieve some kind of status.
And it is. It's rather if it's you the the humpy, I suppose. You feel dominated. You feel like that dog has certainly got above you in the hierarchy. What should you do to curb this kind of behaviour? Is there something you can do to curb it?
Yes. So the first thing would be don't draw attention to it. The more attention you give, the more they're going to go. The best thing is to actually, if you can, as best you can, stand up and walk away from them, completely leave the room, that you don't accept it at all. It's not something you acknowledge or enjoy.
I got that, man. Look, you feel like leaving the room anyway. Okay, and this is something that my rescue sausage absolutely loves doing, especially when there's duck poo around. Rolling on their backs on the grass. Some dogs will do this with like a glee, an amount of elation, like it's the best thing on earth. Why do they love doing this so much, and why are they doing it?
Oh, well, there's a few reasons. The first one is just because they like it. They like to scratch their backs like we do, stretch out in the sun on the nice soft grass. Other reasons would be that they are trying to cover themselves in a scent that's there. If you see that they're sniffing around the area a lot first, it's probably that there's another smell there that they quite enjoy, like doggy perfume, trying to cover themselves in that. They might also be marking their territory, again, spreading their own scent in that area, which dogs love to do. You often find after dogs get bathed in lovely smelling shampoo, they don't like that smell and would rather get the smell of dirt on them again, because that's like doggy perfume.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose it stands to reason if your nose is 7 times stronger than a human's, it's all about that smell. Everything has got to be about the sense. I love that. This is another quite quirky trait. Some dogs do it more than others. Again, my one sausage absolutely loves to kind of make a little bed for him. Why do dogs walk around in circles before going to bed, especially in their own little beds? Like, he will do like 9 or 10 laps before he actually lies down and goes to sleep. Why do they do that?
Oh, wow. Well, that is really comfort-seeking behaviour. So the more they walk around, especially if it's a nice thick bed like a pillow, the more of a dip they'll make to lay in, which means they're protected either side, more comfortable. If you look back at their roots, it's probably more for protection if they were sleeping outside somewhere. So there's maybe some behaviour coming down from ancestrals there. But it's mostly comfort. If they're scratching as well, it's just to make that bed more comfortable for them to lie in. Some dogs get a little bit obsessive with it and they have to turn around 10 times before they lie down. And I think that's a little bit like our human rituals. We like to puff our pillows down. It's the same thing.
A little bit of OCD is perfectly fine in any of our households. I love that. So this, seeing as there are no boundaries and this is a safe place for us to have the conversation, so one of my little dogs, her name is Lola, but we call her Peen. We actually call her Stinky Peen, okay? She is tiny, but when it comes to farting, she punches way above her weight class. Is a farty dog a healthy dog, or is it something that we need to look at in terms of their diet?
Unfortunately, well, it's something you need to look at. They're not supposed to be gassy. So it's definitely something to look at their diet, their anal glands. Sometimes they need to be just simply emptied so they don't smell as much. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not a good sign for their health.
Are some dogs more prone? Because we've got a strong relationship with our Frenchies here. Our executive producer has the most beautiful Frenchies that used to spend a lot of time pre-COVID in our studio with us. And Bob would have this ability, and I'll never forget doing an interview with the gorgeous Catherine Jenkins, and Bob was sitting on her lap and she was talking, and then suddenly her mouth closed and her eyes started watering. Are some breeds more prone to flatulence than other breeds?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Like some people are more prone to it too. It's all about the way their guts work.
Oh, man, it's lactose intolerant. Absolutely love it, man. I've tried to think of every embarrassing question that I possibly could ask you so that our viewers don't have to go in and embarrass themselves in that respect. But you've been an absolute gem this morning. I love the fact that our dogs are so quirky. They kind of match us. And we have learnt over the last year that it's okay not to be okay. So let your dogs be strange and weird and ultra cool, because it just adds a lighter side to life. Lucy, you're a legend. Thank you so much for being so candid with us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Dogs are weird, but they're awesome. That's why they are our best friends.